In this video, I will be exploring what's left of the Cariboo Hudson gold mine. I will be exploring the one building left standing, the remains of the ore processing mill, and going underground in the mine. This is one of the most unstable mines I've ever been in, and I don't recommend entering it. When you're heading up towards Yanks Peak, you'll know you'll be getting close because of the corduroy road, meaning the logs used to stabilize the road. Take the overgrown road down to the only building left standing. Except for this one building, the rest of the buildings are in such poor shape I think they possibly could have been knocked down deliberately when the equipment was taken out. But it's also not uncommon to get 10 feet of snow in these mountains either, so they could have fallen down from the 80 plus years they have sat. I really don't know what the purpose of this particular site that sits alone from the rest of the mill was. I can't even say with certainty that this is part of the Hudson Cariboo, but it is right near where the bottom level of the mine would have been. And the only core samples in the area I can find are here. I'm surprised the rats haven't eaten this phone book. I love how this entire building was built with real lumber. There would have been sawmills all around the area to supply the gold rush. First time I was here 8 years ago, you used to be able to see a little dam on the river out this back door. I've always wondered what it's for. Everything's so overgrown now you can't even see the river. These buildings were wired with power, so I wonder if the site supplied water to the upper mine. Time has not been kind to these buildings. These buildings are directly beside a second river. It's such a shame we're losing this history. Here's the core samples. You can see gold in some of them. And you can tell somebody's gone through all of them looking for gold, because they should all sit neatly in a row. I have hiked this area and flown my drone around, and I can't find the bottom entrance of the mine. This is the remains of the ore processing mill. The mill crushed the ore into a fine powder, and then they used cyanide to liquefy the gold and then recover it from there. Here's one of the few pictures I could find of the mill site. I couldn't find a single pump or a single motor. The history books say the site was stripped and the equipment taken down to Wells, to the Cariboo Gold Quartz Mine. Here's an entrance to the mine below the mill. There's 6 levels to the Hudson Cariboo with 100 feet of rock separating each level. I estimate this is one of the middle levels. I'm not sure if this entrance was blasted shut or it collapsed, but for a hard rock mine, this type of rock here can be very unstable. On this building, it looks like on the peak of the roof, they flattened out oil jugs or something and used it to cap the roof. I've seen this quite a few times on the prairies, and I've even seen buildings completely tinned with it. I've always wondered where they got the tin from, if it really is oil jugs. First time I was here, this building was partially standing. You can see a sink in the rubble. It might have been where the miners washed up at the end of the day, or maybe they processed fine gold here. Here's the remains of a wood pipeline embedded in the road. It must be extremely tough considering how many times it would have been driven over. I believe this is the second level down in the mine and the main hall level. The walls are starting to buckle and the floor is heaving up. I don't think it will be long before it will collapse. It's so dangerous I wouldn't even go in, but there's a second exit through a stope that went straight up out of the mine, and there's ladders inside I would be able to use if it did collapse. The Barkerville Pack Trail, that was the only source of supplies to Barkerville area before the Cariboo Wagon Road was built, is just a few kilometers up from here. The gold-bearing quartz in this mountain was noted in 1860, and thousands of prospectors consumed by gold fever would have passed right by these tempting prospects. Underground hard rock mining is very labor intensive and requires significant investment, and it wasn't until the 20s when Fred Wells, the founder of the town of Wells, staked these claims. He upgraded the road to allow heavy machinery up the rugged mountain, and he started to sink shafts. The construction of the mill wasn't finished until 1936, and only 2 years of mining took place before the gold-rich vein was lost because of a fault. Either an ancient earthquake or a slow-moving fault creep moved the ore body, and they were unable to relocate it before they ran out of money. In 1948, the equipment was moved, and some of the buildings were relocated to other mine sites. The ore at the Cariboo Hudson was remarkably rich, and the ground is geologically complex. Many companies from the 50s to the 2000s did trenching, soil sampling, and drilling to assess the potential, but the mine site still sits abandoned to this day. There's some strange iridescent water coming out of this hole. There's always something interesting to see underground. Here's some of the ore chutes from the upper level. And a ladder up to the top level. Here's where they would have used a winch to pull the ore up from the bottom level. I've always been tempted to go down this ladder, but fear and common sense has always held me back. There are more miners' cabins and shafts sunk in the alpine meadows above this mine.